Scrapbookers and creative friends. I'm Linda Petuch. I'm a Creative Memories Independent Advisor in Jupiter, Florida. Welcome to Thursday Thoughts. And today my thoughts were about playing with border punches. And instead of using them as just borders on the sides or on the tops or bottoms, I decided I wanted to make corners out of them. And I started thinking that I would only do chain borders, but you'll see that how I mixed it and matched it up a little bit. So I'm going to take you on a little journey, and you can see I wanted to be creative. I wasn't really thinking of any particular theme. I'm looking at the punches more as designs rather than actual themes. So we can take a look and see what I came up with. Now, I did use a variety of punches, as you see in that photograph, but also I primarily started working with this tie-dye pack, and then I pulled in some other totally tonal papers that I had, and you'll see as you go along too, I love using the shimmer cardstocks because they're really great to punch with. They're not as heavy as regular cardstock, and not quite as thin as some designer papers. But I did use some cardstock as well, which you'll see as I go along. Now I want to start. This is a piece of totally tonal. Well, maybe before we do that, let's pull this in. So very quickly, in case you haven't seen our Border Maker cartridge, I thought I was only going to work with this. I did end up using standalone punches, which you saw in the photo maybe, but I'll share with you again. This is Parakeet Shimmer. This is our Border Maker. I'm not teaching you very well. You open this up to line up the paper, and then you flip it back, and the magnets in here hold it. The Border Maker cartridges, this is simple leaf chain. You put the Creative Memories logo inside, pop it in there, and then you can start at the top or the bottom. I usually start at the top. I don't know why, but that's what I do. And sometimes I do find when I'm punching, especially things that are a little bit fragile, it's better not to slide down, but to go in and out. And then you get your, whoops, see what I'm talking about? There we go. And then you get your punched shape chain out of there. And that's what I decided I wanted to start with. However, I wanted to not just use it as a straightforward border. I thought it would be fun to make corners out of these. So what I did was after I punched the border, I just found the center, which is really easy to do on this one, and I just kind of folded it over and give it a little pinch. Now would have to, particularly with this one, you'd have to use the repositionable tape either on parchment or on a silicone mat, because when you run the tape runner over this, it'll only stick to the paper and not to the spaces in between. All right, so then I decided I would do this. Now I did discover that most of these corners, if you do one, the other one is too long unless you snip off some of them, but we'll look at that in a second. So for the most part, the chain borders work really well. Okay, here's another one. This one is the cable chain, and the cable chain, so what I do is I kind of find the middle. Okay, this is very easy also because it punches right there. It folds right there. And then you open it back up, and then you give it a little twist and a pinch and put it on your corner. Let me do the next one because I have this one to show you as well, so I can give you an idea. It just changes the look rather than have the border just be a straightforward border at the base or on the sides. Okay, now because they kind of would overlap, see they're a little bit too big to be together. That would make a really kind of nice drape on there if you wanted to do that. You could cut off one of these and have them meet in the middle. But you'll see on my designs, most of them, I kind of did them in the opposite corners, leaving a lot of space for your photographs. Now, this is a chain punch. This leaf was a chain punch. When you use an edge punch, it gets a little bit trickier to try and fold it over, especially depending on the directionality here. So this is not quite a 12 by 12, but you get the idea. So I find the center, and then see when you go to fold it, it's on opposite sides. So I ended up having to do on a few of them a couple of funky folds. So all I did was just kind of push it with my finger, squeeze it in the corner, and then you can put it up into that space. But I just think it's a really nice, kind of a different way to look at our borders rather than just being straightforward borders, but make corner embellishments instead. I do have some samples I'm going to show you, and then also show you how I changed and added other embellishments. Let's take a look. You can see I started off very simply. I just made one border, punched the same border twice. This is the one called Crystal Chain. And again, I was looking for designs, not necessarily themes. So I looked at designs that I thought would look nice, folded over and put in the corner. And the beauty of these two is that not only do you have all the space for photos and journaling, you also have the flexibility of using it however you wish. And if you had two of these, you could have this page with the folded corner here and have the other one would be up here, and that would look really pretty. And I do have some samples of that, but very simple, just with one border punch folded in half in each of the corners. Then I started combining. So again, as I said, I didn't really think of these as the actual designs. This is the spring leaf chain punch, but I didn't really think of it as leaves. I thought of it as a nice base for the wispy chain. This is one of my favorites, the wispy chain. So this is what I did, and I just folded it over and did then a double. And again, you have flexibility to turn it any direction you wish. So here's an example of a double page, and this time I didn't use the Border Maker cartridge system. I do love it, but I decided I wanted to try it with the branches and the birds. I thought that would be kind of fun. This one, you do have to, when you're doing this, I had to really start measuring before I put the branch down, because of course the branch went down first, but I had to kind of place the birds to make sure they weren't off of the page. But I thought this would be a really fun thing to do, to have them, and you have swarms of spots. Oops, okay. And then we could do this. We could have it be like this. We could have it be like this, because the birds kind of have a direction, but because their heads are all facing the outside edge, you can switch them in different places. Okay, and that leaves that open, but gives you a little decorative edge on there. All right, next. So next I started adding embellishments. This is one of those edge borders. It's the notebook edge. That's even in the name. Where's my notebook edge? Oh, right in front of me. Notebook edge. This is the Notebook Edge Border Maker cartridge. And I didn't even think of it. It doesn't look like a notebook edge to me here. I just think it's a nice design. And I also decided to embellish it with the circle chain. I thought that would be nice together. So what I did here is I measured how wide the circles were in the chain to make sure that the solid part of the notebook edge would cover this and be the negative space and make that design on there. Just to finish it off, I decided to pop up a couple of little, this is from the not Copper Canyon, it was another copper collection we had about a year ago, and I just popped a couple of embellishments there. Again, picking up on the burst idea, and also, you know, we've got the black circles and so forth, just looking really at designs. Okay, again, this is from the tie-dye collection. Okay, here's another one, again with the tie-dye paper, and this one, what is this? This is, the mirrored triangles. I should know that because that's what it looks like. Mirrored triangles. Again, I used some of those copper embellishments and then used the little enameled dots to go on there as well. Again, we have total flexibility. This wouldn't necessarily have to be a flowery event because these are really leaves that look like a flower. But in any case, you get the idea how you can embellish. I like this one too. This was sold with the Enchanted Wizard collection. It is called Mosaic Diamond Chain. I love this one. Makes a beautiful design. And picking up on the tie-dye, I decided to go with the blue on the tie-dye. And then for the embellishments, I picked up on the green and the yellow. Again, with flexibility to set it however you wish in your album. And of course, if you, again, using those drop-in pockets, top-loading pockets, you have another page ready to go. So this one I was thinking rose garden. And the reason I thought of that, this tie-dye pattern on here kind of reminded me of a lattice or trellis. So I thought, well, that would be fun. So I did punch the leafy chain like I demonstrated at the beginning. This is the rose chain. Okay, I said garden rose chain on top. And then just to kick it up a notch, I added some bling on there, little bling on the 3, and I just did it, and where that fold part is, that's a great place to add an embellishment if you don't like the look of that fold. Okay, so then I have just a little bling there, and again, you've got another page on the back, ready for action. Okay, I actually started with this one when I started playing with the punches. So this is kind of a combination of using a border as a border and then also using it as a corner. This is the fringe standalone punch, the fringe punch. And then I decided I wanted to use the barbed wire. And for some reason, this just made me think of like saddle blankets and horse's mane and so forth. So this is what I came up with from that. Again, this emblem here, this medallion here was from the copper collection. And these are a little horse punch, which I popped up on foam squares. But I think that's really a nice combo. It really frames this for a story that you want to tell about horseback riding or visiting a ranch or living on your ranch, so forth. It made me happy. I hope you like it. Okay, now I want to show you how you can switch these up a little bit too. So I love this kind of gray, and I thought I would just pick up on the black. I am in love with this wispy chain. I really like these, the ribbon wave chain. It's not wispy, it's ribbon. Wispy is, this is wispy. This is ribbon. Okay, so I love this, and I decided I wanted to double it. And then from one of my laser cut embellishments that I had from, I don't even know when, I decided that would look really nice on here. Great setting if you have a graduate, if you have a star performer, end of the year concerts I know are going on. Wonderful setting, lots of place, again, for your journaling and for your photographs. Now this is what I'm talking about when I talk about, I looked at these as designs and not necessarily what the object is. Those are scissors, but I don't see them as scissors here. I just see them as a really cool design on the corners. Again, I just punched it, folded it in half, and added a little bit of bling. I thought it would be striking. And then this would particularly work well if you matted your photos on red, or if you had photographs that had red within them. And I made this as a drop-in top-loading pocket page, because on the back, then I have some more. This is the climbing vine, chain, and then these are some embellishments from either Botanical Burst or Vivid Melodies. Pop those up on foam squares, but that way you have a double page ready to go, which again, before you put your photos on, you think about it, look at it, and then you can make them whatever direction you want them to be. Now, I went back to that, to the ribbon wave chain, because I do like it so much, and I thought I would pick up on the black and the white that was in this tie-dye paper. So that's what I did here. And I wanted to show you that, you know, I have this from, I believe it's from Totally Tonal, but this kind of layout, any of your black and white stickers would look really nice on there. These, of course, you can use any of these for titles, for your page. You also could back them on this kind of a corally orange here. You could back them on that, but it's just a really plain, generic, beautiful design that I think has a lot of movement in it, and it would complement your photos. Okay, this one I used, now this is a little bit tricky. I believe I explained it in one of my other videos, but this was the clouds punch, and in order to make it look like clouds on both sides. I punched the first side, and then I cut it, I believe it's at 1.5 inches. You measure this to make sure that you have enough space, and then I turned the border around and repunched it because I wanted that to be the setting for my stars and for the stars and moon and stars on here. So that's what I did here. And I want to show you that if you did something like this, this might be a great spot for you to use maybe a laser border, a laser cut frame. Okay, pick up on the stars maybe, and pick up on the stars here to feature one of your photographs. And the thing is, if you do this, I mean, because we have green here, we have the green here. If you do this, that does leave you other space for journaling and for other photos. And when you are, I do want to show you this. I just made myself some, out of white cardstock, I just made myself some little boxes that I can use to test where I want to put my photos. Okay, so that's something that you can do. Now here would be a great spot for either for a journaling box, or for another little photo. But if you have these, then it's a great thing to pull and to test your photos. Sometimes, like if you have a 4x4 mat, you're going to have to use a smaller photo. So I do sometimes cut my photos into 3x3, and I very often print my photos, whether I have it done somewhere or if I do it at home. I like to do true digital, because when you do the true digital, then it fits. It's very bad to see, but it fits better on the, you can trim it down just a little bit to have it fit on a 4x6 mat, because so many of our mats come already in that size. But this might be something you'd want to have a few of, so that when you're deciding how to set up your pages, you have an idea of how many photos and how you want to arrange them, because then that helps you understand and know where you want to put your embellishments. If you're going to pop them up, you have popped up embellishments that then the photo can just slide right under. Okay, the last one I want to show you. I started playing with this tiara. This is the tiara that came out with our Enchanted Princess collection last year. And I decided to make it out of platinum and bronze shimmer paper. But you have this undefined space here. But here's what I did. I did not adhere this down yet because I'm not sure this is how I'm going to use it, but here's an idea. Platinum shimmer and bronze shimmer. The space that was in here was just around 8 inches square. So I cut the platinum mat, I cut that at 8.25. Yes, it was a little bit greater, 8.25, and then I cut the bronze at 8 inches. So that has just a slight edge there, but that ties in those colors really beautifully together. And then you could use this mat to just feature maybe one beautiful big photograph. And you could then use some shimmery little designs to add more interest to that. Okay, and then if you don't want to just feature one photo, because I know we have weddings coming up and graduations and dance recitals, this tiara would be a really nice thing to use. But you could also use this space, okay, to test a 5x7. Maybe you want to do 4x4, maybe a 4x4, a couple of 3x3s, and then add your embellishments. Excuse me. But that makes it very flexible. And then there's always the option afterwards of adding some bling to bring in the colors. Maybe if it's a dance recital, the colors of the costume. Whatever you want to do to highlight your princess or your graduate or your bride or your baby, whatever it is, whoever it is you're honoring on this special page. But having a corner rather than a border just gives it a little bit more interesting look. Well, those are my Thursday thoughts for today. I hope you enjoyed that, and I hope it gave you some good ideas. If you have any questions or comments, please put them in the comment section, and I will be happy to answer those for you. Remember, if you don't have an advisor and you need one, I would love to be your advisor. The link is there so that you can shop with me. You can also visit my website and check out some of the pre-made pages and borders that I have, as well as some of the other products that I have on there. Thank you again for watching, and happy scrapbooking. Bye for now.